more. Okay. Anytime? Okay. All right. I call this meeting to order at 10 o'clock. Order. All right. Morning, everybody. I will read the land acknowledgement. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Ati-Wenderonk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? Nope. Okay, moving on to the adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Linda has moved. Mary has seconded. I call the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Nope, then that is carried. Morning. Moving on to the adoption of the minutes of last meeting on February 24th. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Dave has moved. The councillor has seconded. I call the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Nope, then that is carried as well. Correspondence. Are there any items of correspondence? No, not on my end either. Financial, I have handed in our website hosting fee invoice. This will be the last one of the type. The website will be incorporated into the city's website probably this month. So I will let Mark Kawabi know from the Web for Business that the heritage website that ran independently will be coming to an end and will now be part of the city's website. Morning, Chris. I also have a few smaller invoices for printed materials, which I haven't handed in yet. I will do that sometime this month, Nancy. That's it for financial, as far as I'm aware. Anything? Okay. Then we're moving on to ongoing business, installation of history plaques for designated properties. No yet. I know we will deal with the Miller House before the end of the year. And then we're moving on to, unless anybody has seen another house that needs a new plaque. Anything? No? Okay. Then we're moving on to ongoing business. Moving on to number 8.2, heritage permit status update. And here I'm going to hand the mic over to Nancy or Chris.
Wonderful. We have a very, very short presentation just to show where we were, what has changed, and where we are going with this initiative. Last Heritage meeting, you may recall, we presented some draft materials, and this was based on work that our previous consultant did on what other municipalities are doing in terms of a permit process, and what is recommended for the city of Thorold. So based on the best practices review, and there were some municipalities that we really liked, such as Grimsby and what they're doing, we came up with a draft framework that includes, based on the recommendations, an FAQ to be included on the Heritage Thorold website, an application form, and a guideline document that will explain when a permit's required, when it's not, and would guide an applicant through the process. What has changed? I don't see the presentation, so I'll just pull it up on the side and speak to it. if I have it open. Oh, there it is. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So slide 3. So at the last meeting, when we presented this document to the committee, there we go. Slide 3, please. Oh, sorry. That's my computer screen. There we go. Last committee meeting, when we presented this, we asked for feedback, and thank you for everyone who did provide feedback. And what we heard was the changes as a result of that feedback are including information more clearly about when a permit is needed and when it's not. We added an option, and it is optional only if a heritage architect has been retained to include or justification for the alterations being made and how they're sympathetic to heritage attributes. So that's part of the application form. And optional, since not always an architect is going to be retained. We removed as a checkbox or a clear option demolition as a purpose for a heritage permit, recognizing that this will happen only in rare cases. So there's an option to identify other where the need for demolition may be addressed if that's the case. And we also removed the need for a heritage impact assessment as a potential requirement. That was simply an error, as we recognize that heritage impact assessments are only required for development that's adjacent to a heritage property. So doesn't fit into this process, this permitting process. So based on the feedback, those are the edits that we've made. And in terms of next steps on the next slide, I'll share with you where we're going. We would be seeking endorsement from the committee today for the proposed heritage framework and the revisions that were made. We are targeting to present to council for formal approval the April 21st special council meeting. Following that, should we be successful, we would publish our FAQ on the city website, recognizing that there's also a broader city website update happening, but we'll flow into that. We'll launch the application form, and then we'll work on integrating this process into the broader development services workflow. So there's going to be some internal education or information sharing on that. And then we'll externally share information. So notifying designated property owners, circulating information to real estate professionals and contractors, and perhaps we can even host an information session or tag along to another heritage event where we can share this information. That's all we have. Thank you, Madam Chair, and happy to answer any questions or receive any more feedback through you.
Great. Thank you very much to both of you for moving this along. It's something that we have been looking forward to for a long time. Are there any comments? Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Nancy. Nancy, should this get approved by council and move forward, then one thought might be to every once in a while advertise some information about the heritage permit on our new digital board in the downtown area. Could be very simple. Have you heard about, something like that? Not a lot of information, just to sort of get the conversation going so people see it and know about it.
Thank you. Good point. One question, I should probably have brought that up earlier, and I also don't know whether you would be knowing about that. That might be the building department's responsibility. What about cost of a heritage permit? I know once they have their heritage permit, they will need to apply for other building permits. The heritage permit doesn't just give carte blanche to go ahead. So the building permits usually cover, it's based on square footage usually. How is this done with a heritage permit? Is there a sort of a base fee that you pay for that. What we wouldn't want is for this to be a deterrent to heritage property owners. If it's a base fee, that is fine, but it shouldn't become more expensive in any significant way than building onto a more modern structure.
Through you, that is an excellent point. Chris, in your research, did you come across any standards for costs?
I didn't come across any costs. I think from what I've heard or what I remember is that like a lot of the times they don't charge for it simply because it's they don't want to make property owners go through more difficulty when they're trying to restore heritage. So,
well, if that were, sorry,
no, through you, that was my recollection as well. I just didn't want to say that, but and I think internally we also decided that, which is why there is no cost identified. But interested in everyone's thoughts on that.
If that were the case, that of course would be great. If there were a nominal fee, I think that would also be completely acceptable. I just wanted to make sure that there's not a big additional onus on heritage property owners as opposed to owners of properties that are not heritage, but they basically want to do the exact kind of work, or just without the heritage aspect to it. Okay. Any
exactly.
other? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Just again through you. The intent is really just to formalize this and to make sure everyone is on the page, on the same page in terms of the process and requirements. So I agree with you, and at this point there is no fee being recommended, and I don't believe that we would want to change that.
Great, thank you. So. Any comments from the rest of the committee?
Sorry, owning a heritage home is expensive enough without having to pay an additional fee. So I approve of the no fee because there hasn't been fee all along, and I don't think we should start it.
Okay, thank you. How do we go from here, Justin? Do we just vote on endorsing the proposal?
So yeah, through you, if the committee wishes, they can pass a motion. One recommendation is that the Heritage Advisory Committee endorses the Heritage Permit Process Framework.
All right. Then can I have a mover and a seconder to endorse that motion? Dave has moved. Jonathan has seconded. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Nope. Then that's carried. There's your endorsement. Thank you so much to both of you.
Likewise, thank you.
All right. Then we move on to new business, St. John's Heritage Site designation. At their last council meeting on March 24th, 2026, council passed a motion regarding notice of heritage designation for 3054 Orchard Hill Drive, St. John's Common School, and the Street Haney Miller Mill. So notice of intent has been passed. I have also heard from the NPCA, who has had their board meeting 3 days later, that they have endorsed the notice of intent. So we're ready to move forward with getting the bylaw phrased. I don't think there will be any other information in that than the information that is in the notice of intent. From what I've seen from previous designations, that was always extremely similar. It just the framework which it is put in is then within a bylaw framework instead of a notice. So we are looking to get this bylaw passed in council on May 12th, in the May 12th council meeting. So if we could have that bylaw ready by then, that would be great. Any comments with regards to the designation? Okay, there's one quick thing we should now talk about now that that is definitely moving forward, and that is the plaques that will be required for the designation. I am not in favor of putting a bronze plaque on the school because it is in a secluded and very open to the road spot. These bronze plaques get easily stolen. So basically, that might be up for a few days and then some scrapper goes by and gets it. So no point to that. If we want to put up a bronze plaque, we could either just put it on the mill, or we could ask the NPCA whether they would like us to do one combined plaque, which is then attached to either a plinth or something that is already on the site, but on the actual site, not on the periphery of it, like the schoolhouse is. That just says, you know, designated under the Ontario Heritage Act or heritage site. We just have to make sure that that is worded to include only the mill and the schoolhouse, because the land is not designated since it is already protected as a conservation area. We will also put up, I'll ask your comments in a second, we will also put up our regular history plaques, which both of these buildings will get, the school and the mill. And Sarah also recommended that Louis Blake Duff, who had a major part in preserving this area as a conservation site, get some kind of recognition. The Chandler and the Scott families are mentioned on the site on various plaques, but Louis Blake Duff is not. So we have additional plaque stands in our stock. I suggest that we erect an additional plaque stand with digital plaque on it in honor of this man who had major influence on protecting this site for posterity, just like the other two. He's just not mentioned anywhere. Yes, Linda?
Do you need a motion for that?
Do we need a motion for that?
Through you, first of all, after you're done, we'll get a summary of how many plaques you wanted and where. And I don't know if you wanted to talk to the NPCA to make sure they're all good first, and then come back.
Okay. So we don't need a motion just yet. Don't know whether we necessarily need a motion. It would definitely fit into our budget of this year. It wouldn't cost us extra. Or it wouldn't cost the city extra. But I will contact the Director of Conservation Areas and ask their input as to what kind of plaques should be erected. We'll make the recommendation. And, if I make the recommendation to him, Justin, do we need to have a motion right now about this, or can we just say?
I just recommend through you that we just talk to the MCA first, see what their thoughts are, and then come back with what they think, and then we can do a motion then. Okay,
all right. Okay, so that's where we stand right now. The designation will probably happen sometime in the second half of June. With any luck, the bylaw will be passed on May 12th, and we, of course, need the second appeal period of 30 days. That will be over on June 12th or June 11th, and after that we can designate. The bronze plaque, if we choose to put one up, will most likely not be ready for that time. We'll put up a provisorical wooden one, which can then be replaced once the bronze plaque is is manufactured. I also have a question to you, Justin. What about invoices from the Heritage Committee for this year? Can they still be handed in after the committee closes down?
So through you, we're just not having regular meetings after June. Technically, everything still exists until November 14th. But yeah, they can still be handed in.
Okay, great. I just know that these bronze plaques, they take months to complete, so most likely I won't have that invoice. McGee Signage doesn't like to invoice ahead of time before they've delivered the product. So, okay, but that's good to know. Yeah, that's my news about St. John's. Any further comments? Nope. Then moving on. Heritage Awards, no news on that matter yet. Tim, Jonathan, and I were supposed to get together and word that application form, which we haven't done. We will do this for the next meeting. Moving on to events, that is just a quick recap for two things. I went to the Culture Crawl a couple of weeks ago in Pelham. This was a great event. There were various museums present. The NPCA was there too. There were heritage groups from the Brown Homestead and from Willowbank. Some great contacts that were made, so it's definitely an event we should think about attending regularly. I was also really quite astonished to see how many younger people were involved in these kind of conservation and preservation activities or jobs. A lot of them were actual professionals. So that's very encouraging to see. So that was the Pelham Culture Crawl. Then we had our information day this last Saturday. It was great. There were some great comments from the mayor and others who were present. I would have wished for a slightly bigger audience, especially from people who are not heritage advocates anyway. I was preaching to the choir a little bit, of course. But two people from the development community, Councillor Mike DeDavidis and John Lally from Lally Homes were there, which was great. They both made good comments, and it was just a nice afternoon to talk about our heritage and the importance of preserving it, not just for the sake of history and old houses, but for the sake of our city's economy, for the sake of our environment, cultural identity. All of those things are just extremely important nowadays. All right, if we do this again, I hope to be doing this again, we should maybe advertise it a little bit more aggressively to people who right now are not involved in any projects like this or activities like this, but we would really like to reach with our message. So that is something to think about for next term. Any comments? Councillor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I just want to say, as the Chief AV Technician, thank you so much, Wynne. The slideshow was amazing, absolutely amazing, and it all worked out extremely well. We thought we were a little nervous about the Wi-Fi there. It sometimes gets lost, but it held out beautifully, and the arrangement was great. So thanks for that extra time, Wynne.
Yeah, thanks, Wynne. I tried the advice that you gave me to get it to click from picture to picture. Tim and I figured it out together, and it worked out, so it was great, and there was no systems shut down on that day either, which was great too. We know that can happen over at number 8 on the first floor. Yeah, thank you so much. It was great. And I'm sure that people loved seeing all the pictures. Yes, Jonathan?
Just want to mention that you did a great job as well.
Oh,
So the
thank you.
combination of the presentation and more so at the end, there's, I know it's hard to control whether you want an open conversation, but there seemed to be some, even from a group of people who are interested in heritage, for discussion about heritage in the community, and that really pertain to downtown,
yeah.
and there are some, and you did a great job of managing the different opinions in that. But whether that's a productive thing to encourage a conversation about heritage, or if you want to steer away from that, if that was too political, we wouldn't be in another election cycle next year, so maybe there wouldn't be that part. It'd be more of just a conversation. But anyways, it was a very useful and interesting presentation. So
Thank you very much. Okay, then moving on, our next event will be Earth Day on April 25th, and this year we're going to be in the arena, not in the arena here downtown, but in the Canada Games Center. So that should be a great event. There will be more vendors than before, also not just from Thorold, but from St. Catharines as well, from what I understand. So come out for that. I know there's free tree giveaways, and I'm sure there's other exhibitors there who have interesting things to share. It's an important thing to support. After that, we'll probably have presence on Canada Day, as we said before, and maybe we'll choose 1 or 2 market days as well to just have a table, even though we won't be meeting anywhere, just to make sure that people don't forget us until we reconvene again in January. All right, any comments with regards to our events? No? Okay, then outstanding items. Does anybody have anything to add? Linda?
I just have a few things for Friends of Beaver Dams Church. There's the second stairway that was created by Art Dean has been completed. So there's safe access to the upstairs, where there will be eventually a museum created for the church. They've purchased a shed for storage, and so they're busy organizing some of that. And the chairs have been in storage, so they probably will come back to the shed. And then there's a storage area under the stairs as well. So it's been quite nicely hidden from view in a way. And there's a cleanup day on the grounds in mid-May. I think you can find all these dates on. And there's I thought they said something about a church service early June, and there's a strawberry social later in June, and then there's the Apple Fest in the fall, where they'll sell apples and pies and all kinds of tarts and goodies. Yeah,
Great.
And then probably the wreath laying in the winter. I think about that, but it will be there as usual.
Okay.
And they've hired someone to start to create a document about use of the building, and something about rent, and different kinds of rules and things for the actual use of the building from people who are not members of the group. So it will eventually get used by the community, but there's been so much work put into it to restore it that I think they want to be very careful about how it's used.
Yeah, but it should be used. It's a great
Yes.
building, and it's a fantastic resource for the city.
Yeah, the washroom is all set to go too.
Great.
So,
One quick question regarding the Strawberry Fest. Since that is in June, do you already know the date of that?
I don't have the date of it off the top of my head, but I think if you look at the Friends of Beaver Dams website, all that information, the dates and activities will be there.
Okay, great. I just don't want to schedule our designation of St. John's on the same day.
Oh,
So-
thank you. Yes.
All right, because the mayor will be showing up to both, and he probably would appreciate not having to rush from one to the other. All right, any other comments regarding our outstanding items? Nope. Then we move on to roundtable. Mary?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have nothing to add at this point.
Okay, Dave?
Nothing to add at this point.
Okay, Jonathan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing at this time.
Okay, thanks. Wynne?
Nothing for me, Madam Chair.
Nancy?
Nor from me, Madam Chair.
Christopher?
None for me, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Linda?
Nothing to add except to say thank you very much for your leadership.
Thank you. And Councillor?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and your home cooking. Yeah. No, I just want to add, put a little bug in everyone's ear. We talked about this at home. There are so many great historic Thoroldites that have achieved amazing things over the years. And we just started talking about an idea of perhaps celebrating or advertising the birthday of some of our greats. So this is just to plant the idea so that in the future maybe we could have it advertised whose day it is that we're celebrating and why. So just a bug.
Thank you very much. And Justin?
Nothing to add.
Thank you. Then our next meeting will be held on April 28th. As usual, hybrid format, 10 in the morning. And if there's no further business today, then this meeting is adjourned at 10:32. Thank you very much, everybody.